Hey everybody, Aaron Cowan with Sage Dynamics. This week's questions answered video, do I need an aftermarket barrel for my gun? Aftermarket barrels are huge right now. They've always been kind of a big deal for certain needs. So if you needed a suppressor or if you wanted to compensate a gun, you needed a threaded barrel or an extended barrel or something like that. They become more and more popular, more and more prevalent, based almost exclusively, I think, on social media, because you see it, it's advertised, it's in your face, it's on your phone, it's on your computer, and you're thinking, okay, maybe this can solve the problem that I'm having. First thing right out of the gate, if you can't outshoot your gun, then you probably don't need an aftermarket barrel. And then there's the cautionary tale, I guess, of the fact that the probability of your aftermarket barrel, no matter what brand you choose, all coming from the same place is very real. Kind of an open secret. And I can't specifically say for every single brand out there, but there is a great number of brands on the market that all get their barrels from the same place, Azimuth NPC. So your barrels are coming off the same machines. Does that mean two barrels are exactly the same? No, because the companies that are having these barrels manufactured by this company are requesting their own personal specifications, different feed ramp, different lockup, and barrel lengths and treatments and rifling and things like that. So just because they come from the same place isn't really that big of a deal. That's one of the things about manufacturing. So you look at AR-15s, for example, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different companies out there making ARs, but when you get down to actually who's making, physically manufacturing from raw materials, the uppers, the lowers, the barrels, the rails, that number of companies that provide those products shrinks significantly, and barrels are no different. Now, as a company, there's no shame in that. Why invest hundreds and hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars in barrel making machinery when there's already a company set up to do it, and they'll do it to your specifications, do your own specific cuts, put whatever you want on it, and then sell it to you at a wholesale price or whatever the agreed upon price is, and then you go ahead and sell it to your customers. Of course, the bad thing is when companies misrepresent themselves. S3F is a really good example of that. They've made claims that they make their barrels on 5-axis CNC machines. And if you know anything about making barrels, you don't make barrels on 5-axis CNC machines. So that right there is an outright lie. I don't like to see companies misrepresent themselves. That's getting a little bit off topic. Topic is, do I need an aftermarket barrel? My answer to you is if you have a pistol suppressor or you want to use a compensator, then obviously you do need an aftermarket barrel. If you're not shooting very well, the aftermarket barrel is not going to make you shoot better. If you are consistently shooting very, very well at different distances and you've noticed that depending on what ammunition or what grain you have, you shoot wider or narrower, I should say tighter groups, then you may want to think about throwing a match grade barrel in your gun to see if that actually does tighten up your shooting. So what I said in the beginning of the video, if you can outshoot your gun, and what that means is you've exceeded the accuracy available to you from your factory OEM barrel. And of course, I don't want to, crush any hopes and dreams. I use aftermarket barrels myself. My carry gun, right there, has got a blacklist threaded for a suppressor because I do shoot this gun suppressed sometimes. I also use compensated guns, so threaded barrels are necessary for that. So I'm not saying don't get an aftermarket barrel. I'm saying, can the money be better spent on something else? So if you want to get that nice TIN finish barrel, but you don't need it, could you rather spend that money on ammunition to increase your practice, to increase your proficiency on the barrel that you already have? Now, if you do shoot tens of thousands of rounds a year, eventually you're going to come up on a barrel replacement issue. Some people say 10,000, some people say 15,000, some people say 20,000. I've seen guns with well over 20,000 rounds still shooting really, really accurate groups. So it's kind of a personal decision. If you see, honestly, a remarkable decrease in accuracy out of your barrel regardless of its cleanliness, then maybe it's time to go ahead and pick up another barrel. Now you can go for an OEM or you can go for an aftermarket. You can also look online, the internet, check out Google. There's more than one independent test at this point where people checked out all these different barrels and show you which ones are more accurate than others. So if you're going strictly for an accuracy standpoint, that's definitely going to help you out and keep you from purchasing multiple barrels until you find the one that's going to work for you. So that's kind of my spiel on aftermarket barrels. If you need it, go ahead and grab it. I don't really see a big deal. I don't see an issue. There's certainly not any legal issues behind it because it can be easily explained why you had a threaded barrel or why you're using a compensator. So from that point of view, not an issue. If you just want it for photography's sake, you want your gun to look cool, that's fine too. I mean, everybody has their own personal likes, their own personal hobbies, so I'm certainly going to judge someone for getting a gold barrel just because they like the way it looks, because aesthetics are a thing. For me, they're lower on the list of priorities, but if you want your gun to pop, a little bit of bling, put a gold barrel on a black gun, then go ahead and do that. But if your shot group looks like a constellation map, maybe that ammo or maybe that money would have been better spent on ammunition to practice before going for something that's going to look Instagram awesome. I'm Aaron Cowan with Sage Dynamics. Train accordingly.